Welcome again to Wickerson Studios. Now I'm playing with an array of points. You can see what I'm doing. I've got a little turntable on here for this strange little form that I've made. I've done some postscripts and some extrusion along normals, which should make for some interesting geometry. Really like this top pattern. I think this is fantastic. What a way to build some geometries like this. We can turn our turntable off and you get a sense of what's happening here. I've got pretty good parametric control. So what I've done is I've gone in and I made a very simple 2D array of points node out of Python. And that's what it generates. Basically, you go in and import Rhino geometries RG. You're creating a point list as an open list, square parentheses, or brackets they're called, for I in range n, and n being 7, or whatever I want to do. It's going to take a little time to run that script. If I make it a little larger, it's going to just jump. I actually liked it at 7, but since I changed, yeah, there you go. You're up to 9 now. You can see that whole form is there. If we take a look at the script now and take a look at some of the profiler and see how long it's taking, there's the real slowdown at 5.2 seconds. So yeah, as soon as you get out of the Python node, things start to slow down a bit in Grasshopper, but it's worth looking at. I've got a step here that actually moves it both in and out of the area. If I bring it here, you'll find the whole form comes together, and then you get this Boolean union into a single brep. So I'm trying to bring that down to 0. Probably would have been much smarter to just right click and hit edit and bring it down to 0, because then it would have run faster. And the top view, you can see, if I click that, you're going to see you're going to have a top view that's a little better like this, and it's a little staggered to the side, but you'll see what's happening. With that data coming out, I've got those points, and there they are generated, and I've created spheres on those points. So they kind of cluster together and become this strange thing, and that's not too hard, just taking the base points and then putting a radius on. I've got a radius of 2, and from those points I did a surface point edit, but I also, as long as that's paired up with the U count matching the N count, then you're going to create a nice surface. And all I really wanted to do was skip this middle section, because that's actually one of my snippet tools when it comes to extruding along normals, and you have to do a little bit of simplification. There's the example that's within there, but I have many surface extrusions that actually work, or some work better than others. I have extrude surface EXT, which would give me a bunch more, but this is the one I actually like, the extrude surface normal. It seems to do a nice job and subtle with NURBS curves. Well, really what I wanted to do was take that 2 pieces of data, the spheres and the surfaces, and simply do a solid difference between them, and then do a polar array, and you end up with this kind of interesting form that comes together. And here's really the pattern of the geometry that I made from the top view, and I think it's really worth looking at. Pretty complex, but pretty sweet. And what's in the middle of that is just, like I said, one of my scripts that I'll go into any untrimmed surface. I'll create a surface from it of points. You can see the UV count on that just to get kind of a fineness to it. I've projected a vector of where that would move to. You can see that in different plays of where those vector points are going, and I've got an amplification factor, just the regular normal. I move those points off, and then I create another surface, and from that I take the edges and the other edges of the 2 forms. So you've got the one here and you've got the one here, and then you're just lofting between them. So you loft all the way around. There's a little bit of funk here, a little bit of a twist here, which is really nice on that form. And then all those edges come back together, and you join the breps, and you end up with this really nice subtle shape. And that's what I would dispatch. And I think I ousted an untrimmed surface that was there. I think there was 2 that came in. The open brep, which I don't need, and I just need the untrimmed surface, I think, or maybe I need the open brep. And then I do the Boolean difference. And after I do that, I get this really nice shape that I can polar array. And you see some really nice, strange little funkiness happening here. That there's actually a floating little form here. So if I took a look, yeah, you get all these, you get an open brep, and you get this closed brep, do a little polar array, you're left with a little nugget in there. But it's nice to have a look at that. And actually, architecturally, these are nice to look at these as well. But what a nice little tool to build a very interesting pattern. Bring that together, and you've got your breps, and obviously there's floating little nuggets. So if I bake that one, I think you'll see what happens. Let's take it a bake, and we won't group it. It'll just take a second to run, and there it is. So I can grab the main form, throw that into maybe visibility hidden, and then take off our Grasshopper. We can get rid of these other 4 because they kind of just graphic, because of the points, you can see what's actually happening. But there we go. Got a really nice set, technical, pen and ink, a wonderful form that's built from artistic view. Let's throw it in a zoom extent all, and then you've got this final form that's actually generated. Once again, that's not something I would have created in Rhino, but a really nice, beautiful form here as we rotate through, and I'll just downsize it a bit. I'll throw it back into the turntable. But really nice. I'm going to share that script in full with the GitHub Patreon members. Once again, I've created so many snippets and had so much fun learning through Grasshopper that now I'm really starting to apply some basic iteration throughout Python that I normally would have done in nodes. And hopefully I'll end up getting into these things that are kind of geometric plugins. I really like this form and what's happening. There's this strange thing with the spheres on the back and extruding. It's a little open at the back here, which is interesting, I guess, because I'd have to go back into there and make sure I choose both sides. So I've got the front side that's chosen before I do the rotation, but that is reading as 5 sides and then a single item. It's not solid, and that's why I'm left with choosing the open breps. I wonder what would happen if I choose the closed breps. I think we end up making a real nightmare here. Well, let's just see what happens. It runs in 3 seconds, and I'll just take that, put it back on. I'll take all those other forms. Let's take off the turntable because nothing works while you do that. Now you can see you get something totally different that's been generated there. And let's just go in here and see what the closed forms are. Let's get this other look, this real funkiness happening here. Let's put it on so we're only viewing that last one. Yeah, so this is without the surfeit. I'm not ending up getting the extrusion that I want, so I'll leave that additional one in there, and then this will make it a little thicker. And of course, I guess I could close up the other side, but those Boolean differences make quite a difference on it. Looks like it's running. It's back up to 5.1 seconds, so I've got to be a little patient. There it is, and there's our final form. So just a nice geometry, a nice pattern. Really excited about that, and also really excited about just going in and taking a bake of those forms, because I think that does produce pretty cool geometry that I wouldn't normally have done. And give it a couple seconds to run. There we go. And this is the one I'm really looking at. I think that's it's pretty excellent. Maybe I'll take a look at it in artistic. Whatever. Take a look at it in a render as well, and then you might want to go back in there and play with a few things. Really nice design, if you think about that. All right. Well, coming from a very simple iteration, playing through a couple old Grasshopper scripts that I've used, and I'm going to keep this going in the GH Python node Patreon base. Thanks again for your support.